Hey, welcome back to John's Garage. So today we have a 2000 Corvette Hardtop, and went to get in the car today and put the electric window down on the driver's side, and it got stuck down and made a really weird noise. So as you can probably see, the window is almost all the way down. Tried to put it up and only came up about an inch. So let's take the door panel off and see what went wrong before we start ordering parts. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do on the door handle is to pry off this little plastic cover. Just prying gently up on it. There we go. There, got it out without breaking any plastic tabs. So in here there are two T30 screws. There we go. Pretty long screws. There's one. And there's two. This door panel has never been off on this Corvette, and it's 21 years old. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is pry off this plastic cover around the door handle. If you got plastic pry tools, that's ideal. I don't happen to have those, so I'm going to use some cloth padding. Try and not to mar up the finish here. Sometimes these come off really easy and sometimes not. So I've got this very dull putty knife that I've been working around and just pulling out and getting this cloth behind it and using this to pull as well. Just working my way around. I put gloves on because the edge of this thing, the plastic, is kind of sharp. There's a little slot you could stick a screwdriver in right down here. Gave that a little twist and popped out a little bit more. Just going to continue working around this thing. There's another hole you can go up this way with a screwdriver and then pry it. Getting a little bit looser, there we go. There, got it off. Didn't break anything. So that's what it looks like when it's off. Looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs, and we did not break any of them, so that's a success. So now we need to remove the sensor here, the door switch. So let's Start from either the side here or the back. Don't pry from the top. There's a tab that goes up like this. You don't want to break that, so start here or start from the back. And this is old plastic, so I really want to be careful with it. There we go. There is like a metal tab right here that holds it in. So let's see if we can get it up and out of there. There we go. Come on. Up and out. Go. Up and out. There we go. So now there's a push tab here to unplug it. There we go. Little wiggling and it's out. So that's the metal tab that holds this in. Right there's a metal tab. So we did not break it. See, that's the tab at the top that it tucks up under like that and then presses down. So you want to pry up from the side or from here, pry up and then pull it out. And then we unplugged it. Okay, so now we're going to take off the door panel. There's like 5 of these Christmas tree plastic clips. And we're going to just pry the door off. Okay, so prying around the bottom of the door seemed to work best for me. Found 3 clips along the bottom, and then working up the side here, found another clip here. Getting the door fairly loose now. Like I say, this door panel's never been off this car, so it's really, really tight. Those plastic Christmas trees are pretty strong in there. There, it's off. Okay, so the exact location of the Christmas tree pins, coming down at the back side of the door, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then by the speaker, there's 5, and there's 6. So there's a total of 6. Okay, and so on the back side of the door, this is the front underneath the mirror, and this thing, you don't want to break that, so that's why I pulled the panel out really far before going up. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pins. Okay. So now we need to unplug the power to the speaker. It's a little push pin. Lift this little release here and unplug it. Okay, so lifting that up. Okay, finally got that unplugged. So now we can take out, there's 6 screws holding the speaker in. So there are 6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then right underneath the plug there's number 6. So we get those, and they're all 7mm. Okay, we got the 6 bolts out. Let's be careful not to touch the speaker itself. There we go. So that's a OEM Bose speaker. Careful not to damage the back of it. Don't damage the paper cone. Put this somewhere in the car where it'll be protected. So now let's carefully peel off this waterproofing. Since this car has been garaged a lot, it's not too brittle. Some older cars that have been out in the sun a lot, this is going to be really cracked. But it's got some rubber cement on the back of it. It's really gooey on your fingers, so either wear gloves or try to keep your fingers off of it. I think I'm going to get a knife to cut as I pull. Okay, so I'm just gently pulling and cutting as I pull, just cutting that rubber glue. Just keep working your way around. Okay, so we got the weatherproofing off and we're ready to go inside the door. Well, upon inspecting the inside of the door and following the wire that raises and lowers the window, I don't see any broken plastic, broken cable wire. I'm not seeing any damage. Okay, so since I don't see any damage, I want to make sure it's not this controller. So it looks like this middle connector that's clear. It's the same clear as this connector. So I'm going to plug it back in. Got lights on it, so it's got power. Turn the key so I have dashboard lights, and try the window up and down. It sounds a little weak, but it's working. Okay. Sounds like a very weak motor. Make sure we got a good connector. Good connection here. Whoa. Okay, something's grinding on the motor. Yo, that sounds bad. Sounds like in the motor itself there's a broken gear tooth. So we can help it up. See, if I push it, it goes up all the way. The motor doesn't know when to stop. It's not going up. Okay, so we're going to have to order a window regulator assembly with motor. That's the only way it comes, is with the motor. Yeah, that's trash. key out. This car is so low mileage, I cannot believe that it went out with such low mileage on it. Okay, so I managed to get the window up. The window is all the way up, so I can secure the car now and order a part. So it looks like the GM part for the driver's side window, it's different than the passenger. So driver's side window regulator and motor assembly, it only comes together. You can't just get one without the other. It's part number 10344131, and there's a GM dealer on Amazon that sells it for $177.82 with free shipping. So it'll take a week to get here, so I'm going to go ahead and order that, and when it comes in I will continue the video with the install. Okay, a week has passed and the part arrived. So this is a genuine GM product, and it is the right part number. So before I remove the window glass, I'm going to mark where the window lines up so that when I go to put the glass back in, I can make sure it's aligned properly and we won't get a lot of wind noise. So I marked it here. I marked the top where it hits the rubber weather stripping. Mark the front of the window. Pretty much the front and back of the window is the most important. So I was curious on the inside of the door where the crash beam is. Every car in America has to have a crash beam. So there it is. There we go. Okay, so it's time to take the glass out. This is a 13mm bolt. It's not in there very tight at all. So when you put it back in, don't break the glass by over tightening it. That's probably loose enough. Do the front one. Okay, let's see if it's loose enough to get the glass out. Not quite loose enough. Might be some kind of tape on the glass too that's grabbing it. Not my tape, but the factory tape. Okay, let's do a few more turns to loosen that bolt a little more. Okay. Looks like the back side of that clip stays with the glass there. So might have to take the bolt completely out without dropping the glass. Okay, so I just unscrewed the bolt, took it all the way out. That's how long it is. Do the same thing on the front one. I threw some towels in there to catch the glass just in case while I'm unscrewing it. Okay, let's take out the front bolt while holding the glass. Okay, front bolt is out. Looks like the glass didn't fall. That's good. Okay, it does have a little bit of factory tape on there. And it looks like the back half of that clamp on the window stays with the glass. Try to get it out without scratching anything. Try lifting that glass out one more time. There we go. Back is out. Okay, so walking towards the back of the door, get the front clamp out. There we go, it's out. So here's what the window looks like, the inside of the glass facing up. So this clamp for the window looks like it's glued on there. Might be just really strong tape. Don't know. Don't need to take it off to find out. So looks like some of the tape from the, yep, that's the inner clamp, the outer clamp. Looks like that stayed on there, but I'm going to leave it on. So it looks like it has some glue from the factory, but it's not like windshield adhesive. Okay, so now we've got to unplug the motor. So on top of the motor, there's a wire plug, and just loosen the clip and pull it out. Okay, so here is the window motor plug, and when it's in the door, you just put your finger on the back and squeeze that plug where my finger is and pull out. You can see that little tab right there. You just push it in. So now there's one plug. It's a rubber plug. Let me get some light on here. At the front of the door where the bracket for the window mounts to the bottom of the door. If you just reach underneath the door, there is one rectangular rubber plug that you need to pull out there. So it's this one here that you want to just pull out so you can get access to the bolt. So just using your fingers, prying around, should come out pretty easily. There we go. So there's the rubber plug that you need. Okay, so now we need to take the whole mechanism out. There are 7 10mm bolts. There's 2 at the top, 1, 2, and then 2 at the bottom. There's 1 here and then 1 underneath where the rubber plug was removed, and then 3 here on the motor. So that's 7 we're going to take out. Okay, so let's start loosening these bolts. These are not in real tight. It is a fiberglass door, so you don't want to over tighten anything. You might put cracks in your fiberglass. I did notice the 2 nuts at the bottom were quite a bit tighter than the ones at the top. I noticed this one at the front, where you go through the rubber plug in the bottom. That does allow you to move the bracket in and out. And my car, it was positioned all the way towards the outer shell of the door. So I'll have to remember to put it back in that way. So it looks like all 7 of these have the same nut with a washer attached to it. So they're all the same, all 7 of them. So I took out the 2 top and the 2 bottom first, and now I'm taking out the 3 for the motor itself. So now I should be able to push this through. So just push the bracket through. I'll leave those towels in there so I don't scratch up the finish on the door. And put that one through. There we go. And that one through. I should be able to accordion this thing and pull it out through the large hole. So before being able to pull it out, you have to get some needle nose and pinch this and push it through. That's the last thing holding it in place, and then you can fold it all up and take it out through here. So let me get some needle nose and take that out. Okay, I just used regular pliers and squeezed, and then took my hand on the other side and pulled it through, and you can see it right there. It's just a big zip tie that holds the wires in this plastic casing. This is what makes the window move. So we'll transfer this over to the new unit if it doesn't already have it in the box. So I'll just lift the bottom of this up. And I can maneuver the top out first, and then the bottom comes out. And now the whole motor. Okay, get the whole thing out. I'll set this on the floor so we can examine it. Okay, here's pretty much how it looks when it's in the car. And let's flip it over and look for damage on the backside. Okay, I don't see any obvious damage. Take a close-up look here. So it's the factory GM motor. This looks okay. The wire's got tension on it. That pulley looks good. Not seeing anything broken yet. That pulley looks good. There's tension on that wire. That pulley looks good. I don't know. I think I'm going to plug it in and try and run it and see what happens, what kind of noise it makes. Okay, so let's get the new part out of the box. Same company made it for GM. That's Brose, B-R-O-S-E. Made in Mexico. Hecha en Mexico. Like a lot of the electronic parts and electrical parts in the car, made in Mexico. It's kind of odd for an American sports car that so many of the parts are made in another country. So that piece that I thought I might have to transfer, the push pin, it does come with the new one, so we're okay there. We don't need to transfer that. And it looks like the clamps for the glass, it comes with the inner and outer, so I'll have to peel the old ones off off the glass or just leave it there and reuse it. So it does have those. I'll probably just leave it on the glass because it's in a good position. I don't have to remeasure. It'll help me get the glass perfectly lined up so there won't be any wind noise. I did notice that two of the pulleys are white this time instead of pinkish red. One is green, and the half pulley on the old one is faded white. This one's blue. So design-wise the same, just different colors. Well, I did notice on the new part, let me zoom in, right there, it comes out of the motor. See how tight that is? And then the black outer casing is fairly smooth. Let's take a look at the old one. So in the old one, you could see through it, and then right here it looked all coiled up. So it looks like something was going on where the cable comes out of the motor on the old one. That's about the only visual difference I can see. That could be a mechanical problem between the old one and the new one. Okay, so let's fish the new part back inside the door. Put another towel here to minimize the scratching as I work this through the door. Maybe we can get the bottom in first. Let's see. There we go. hung up on the door crash bar. Top in, go to the back of the door, then get that in. There we go. Okay. Now we can start moving things around. I'm going to locate the motor and the 3 holes for the motor first. Okay. So put some nuts on there to hold it. It's finger tight. While we maneuver the rest of the mechanism around. Okay, that'll hold the motor. Mechanism in the back to go in. I'm going to put the top in first. There we go. Put the bottom in. Put a nut on there just finger tight. And put one on the top. Just finger tight. Be hard to get the camera on this one, but wiggle this around, get the bottom one in. Put one nut through the bottom of the door panel where that rubber cover was. And I remember this one has to be pushed all the way out to the shell of the door. So I'm going to push it all the way out and put that on finger tight. Try to center that. Now we'll come back and do the top one. So now we're back to the top one again. Okay, there we go, got the top one through. Now we put that nut on after we got the bottom one in. Position the bottom one all the way to the outer door shell and center it in there. It's not tight yet, but let's take some of the towels out here and check our alignment. So now we have to get that zip tie where the 2 cables cross each other, get that nicely aligned, and then pull the push pin through the hole in the door. So I'm going to play with that alignment there. Okay, so inside the door we've got the 2 cables crossing each other, and we're going to come to the outside where we have the push pin comes through. Pop that through. So there we go. And now we just have to plug in the motor. So we'll just reach inside there and snap that in. Okay, that's on. Okay, I'm going to start tightening up some of the bolts. Starting with the motor, 3 bolts. I'm not going to overdo the torque on it because it is fiberglass, so just snug. I don't know, it's probably 20-25 foot-pounds if I had to guess. Okay, those 3 are as tight as I want them. Now I'm going to tighten this one because this has no real adjustment at all. So this one will not be an adjustment point. And the one above it is not really an adjustment point either. So I am going to tighten that very carefully. This one was not very tight to begin with. So. That's maybe 10 foot-pounds. That's all I'm going to put on there. The one at the bottom, probably 30 foot-pounds. Now the one up by the mirror doesn't really have any adjustment leeway, so I'm going to tighten that one up. I'm not putting any real torque on this one. It says just fiberglass, don't want to break anything. Let's do the same 10 foot-pounds approximately. It's about 10, that's all I'm going to do. I'm not going to break anything. So this one in the front has more movement, as you can see. It can go towards the shell of the door, the outer shell, or the inner panel, and it can move a little bit front and back, just an eighth of an inch or so. So I'm going to try and position that where I see the marks in the paint, where it was before, and then tighten it up to probably 30 foot-pounds. Okay, before I put the glass in, I want to see how this thing performs with no glass. So I'm going to hook up my panel here, my door controls, turn on the key. We got lights on this thing, so we got power. And let's watch this go up and down. That's good. Let's see if the auto down works. And it stopped where it should, and it didn't grind. There's no auto up. I'm just stopping at different places. I'm going to watch the front one go up and down. Yep, looks good on the front. Good on the back. Auto down. I think we're ready for the glass now. I'm going to position the window bracket where I can comfortably work on it while holding the glass. So I can get a wrench on the front and back, so I'm going to get them both where I want them. I think that's probably where I want to work on it, so I can see them both. Okay, so lesson learned. The clamp has to be together with the bolt in it and about open that wide, and that piece of rubber has to be like that so that the glass sits on it without touching the threads of the bolt. So I put that together, and then once I got it together, then I just slid the glass down. I'll align that mark in just a second, and then I'll tighten it down, but not so tight as to break the glass. So that's the secret. The glass should come out without either metal piece on the glass. If it does, just peel them off. Okay, so now I'm just going to tighten that bolt. It's probably 15 foot-pounds at the most on there. Do the one in the front. Okay. I checked my tape alignment marks and they look good. Okay, so let's check the window operation with the glass in, and let's see how it works. I'm going to remove my tape here because I think I've got the window where I need it, and I'm not going to run that through the, I want to run that through the weather stripping in the door. I wouldn't have hit it anyway. I am done with that blue tape. Okay, that's up. Let's go down. And it's stopped. And it's below the weather stripping, so that's good. Now let's check our marks. So I'm checking the mark here that I put on the door. And that looks good. That's a line. Let's check the one on the front. That looks good. If anything, it may need to go. No, it's good. It's good. I was thinking it needs to go back, but they look like they're perfect. Okay, so let's just tuck this out of the way for a minute, and let's see how the door closes and lines up with the weather stripping. I want to make sure it's not going to hit that. Okay, so looks like the weather stripping's all good there. Looking at the front here, the weather stripping lines up really well. That spot lines up. And I had this mark here, so between here and here, looks like it's lined up good. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, let's start reassembling the door panel. Oh boy. That glue. Okay, now to put the Bose speaker back in with, and the tweeter side goes up. These are 7mm heads. There are 6 screws total. Okay, so tighten these down. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's all 6 of them. Tighten a few of them a little bit more. Don't want to have any rattles in the door. Okay. Take our connector wire, plug that in. And there we go. That is plugged in. Okay, so now it's time to put the door panel back on. Okay, I put the window down just to make this easier. Grab that wire and stick it through the armrest here for the window control buttons or locks. And let's get these pins all aligned with each other. Okay, the first Christmas tree is aligned, second one's aligned, third one is aligned, fourth one's aligned. This one's not aligned. There we go. Make sure every pin is aligned before banging on this thing. You should start going in a little bit at a time. Okay. We've got our window connector there. Now I'm going to get the 2 screws for the handle. Okay, so now we'll put the door handle in. Our T30 screwdriver. Now our trim piece. Okay, it looks like it goes this way. So this one center tab goes on the bottom, not on the top. There we go. Let's get our window and door lock control. Plug that in all the way till it snaps. There we go. Put the top in first. Feed that under. Push down. And that is in. Okay, now get our door handle trim. Just snaps on. There we go. Okay, the door is finished. Okay, so let's test everything. Now that the door is all together, let's see. Up. Okay. For the one touch down, you have to hold for just a split second. Door shut. Okay, all the way down. Let's try that one touch again. All the way up, and then one touch. There we go. I just held it too long last time. Okay, and with that, it's job done.